everybody. Welcome to the Unconventional Therapist Guide to Nothing. My name is Dave. I'm joined here with my co-host, Greg. Greg, how are you today?
Um, I got to be honest, it's been a little bit of a day.
It
It's been a
has.
little bit of a day. Maybe we could use this sort of um, go with the flow, very ill-researched topic, right?
You were going to say lackadaisical, weren't
I was
you?
gonna say lackadaisical.
That's a terrible word to use to sell an episode. Hey, guys, listen to this lackadaisical episode we have for you.
But sometimes these are the ones that end up being the best, the conversational.
100%. Before we do, can I just shout outs to new Patreon members? We got Carrie Meadows, we got Tori Martinez, and we have Kate, who have all joined on the free membership. Thank you for joining the Patreon. It is growing and growing and growing. Greg, every week we're getting like multiple new people.
I know.
It's insane.
Come join the club.
Did we say also Sarah Downey Sessa and Thomas Hudgens?
Thomas Hudgens is paid member.
We did say him, right?
Yeah, he's the man. Thank you, sir. Sure.
Thomas.
All right. So, without further ado, Dave, actually, you know what? Please, we've had a little stall with like ratings and reviews. I mean, I'm not, complaining, but pop a thumbs up if you can. And of course, come to the Patreon. It's not necessarily a pay thing, only the most generous. If you really get something from it, please contribute. And if you want to just be part of the gang and do it for free because things are tight, hey, come on. Things are
You
tight for us.
know, um the last thing that I think we updated, I did like a second update to this life stuff that was going on for me, and the amount of like feedback and like positive messages and also just
Mhm.
people sharing their thoughts or experiences recently, it was really heartwarming and super meaningful. Like for me to read that while going through all this has been very helpful. I will just also say, um I did obviously just get back from the thing that I mentioned in that episode. So, Greg, did you actually listen?
Yeah, of course, Dave.
Whoa, you did. Nice. So, I just went to New Orleans. I went to the film festival. It was
Dave.
awesome. I got to interview like filmmakers and just watch movies that, are just on the film festival circuit, haven't been released yet, see a few premieres. It was a really cool experience. But I cut myself short because I only went to 2 out of the 4 days of the film festival. If I stayed there an extra day, Greg, you know who I would have met and I most likely would have interviewed? Any idea?
I'm second, Dave. You back?
Yep.
Okay.
So, you know who I would have met or and most likely been able to interview?
Who?
Let me just give you a hint.
Okay.
There's 7 degrees of him.
Kevin Bacon?
Kevin freaking Bacon
Kevin
and his
Bacon?
wife were
Kirsten?
there. I would have been able to interview them. I would have been able to chat with them, take pictures with them, all that good stuff. But I left the day prior and I was
Because of the
kicking
super
myself.
underrated horror movie Stir of Echoes?
No, he just made a new one. Him and his
Oh,
wife just made a new film
oh.
together.
Well, Stir of
Kevin
Echoes.
Bacon's first film is a horror
Oh, yeah.
movie.
Yeah, it was the f
You're
night.
embarrassing
No,
me.
no, no, hold on.
You're
No.
embarrassing me. You're
Friday the
embarrassing me.
13th.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
I would get there.
So yes, I went. It was good to get away. I mean, you can't run away from problems, but it is nice to just get a break from some of the stuff that's going on.
Well, I
It's
think
nice.
like something that we're going to be talking about in this episode too is like I wouldn't say running from problems, but sometimes, you know, uh, focusing your attention can really shift your mood. And sometimes like what it kind of shows you is like, you pay attention to the right sort of things and you feel a little bit better. And I think like, through all these things we talk about today, ultimately we're talking about living a meaningful life. And how do you do that? I think you live a meaningful life by simply paying attention to the right sorts of things. And sometimes when we have tragedy in our life or we lose someone or something, it's almost like an opportunity to refocus on the things that are important to us. And I think like if we could take anything from that, there can be some growth in suffering and some transition and some perspective, I think. So we'll see how we feel through this thing. Dave, do you mind if I kick this thing off?
Hey, Greg, you can kick it.
So Dave has been extremely busy, and me left to my devices, of course, without Dave's leadership, we end up doing a research list podcast episode, which is okay.
Yeah.
But what I'm interested in actually, and we say research lists, and that's actually not exactly true because there's a lot of, I don't know, TikTok and Instagram therapists and just little hacks this and hacks that. And there's this top 10 evidence-based ways to improve your mental health. And I want to go through these and see whether or not we agree with them. And then I'm looking through them, and some of them is true, and some of them I think we should rate them like a 1 to 10 for importance.
Okay. And let me ask you a question too. So where exactly are these from?
Well, these are, a sort of a amalgamation throughout the internet. But with, varying a couple different ones, these are the ones that come up over and over again. And then I found something a little bit different that we'll talk about at the end. And those were the 7 C's of resilience, which I actually think hold up pretty damn well.
Mm.
Um, like really well. It's like almost like categories of wellness. Like if you have all these things going on, you're going to be all right. But we'll do that at the end. But to get this thing started, um, and Dave, as we'll just go back and forth here. I'll do the first one, and you just kind of say where you think this is at a scale of 1 to 10 at the end of it, right? So for me, exercising regularly. Now, I mean, yes, that's wildly important. But the interesting thing about being a therapist is today I had someone, I'm going to say this like it's like I'm bragging, but I had someone in a wheelchair. They couldn't walk, right? So on
Why would you brag about that?
I'm not bragging. I'm making a point. So, um, because I accept all. No, I'm just kidding. Um, no, what the interesting thing that brought up for me is you can have two patients first thing in the morning, right? And one you have to sort of explain to them that it's like you can have a living meaningful life without the ability to walk. Like it's okay. You can find ways and sort of things to do like. And then the next person you're trying to convince that like, hey, they're stuck, they're in their bed and they have the ability to walk, but and you have to explain to them like the importance of walking and the importance of getting out there and the importance of action. It's such like an interesting dichotomy. All that being said, the first one is exercising regularly, like I said. And look, I've heard it described by one of these influencers, and they did a really good job. And they were saying how like if there was a magic pill that would alleviate depression and limit anxiety and make you look better, make you feel better, boost serotonin, um, really help make you sexier, right? Would you take this magic pill? And it's free, by the way. Of course, you would say yes, and that would be exercising. And I think exercising does a few different things. One is it mimics a lot of the symptoms of anxiety. It's choosing suffering, so it's like choosing to do something difficult for yourself, which to me is what self-esteem is, I think. And it's also kind of like being like sort of like delayed gratification. Like I'm going to do something difficult for me and I'm going to suffer so that I feel good in the end. It brings that thing really clearly that we always talk about that's more important to do good versus feel good. And you should really start thinking more about what you want to do versus how you want to feel. And by exercising, it's a good behavioral activator where like it really does help you become someone you admire and improves your mood. So to me, exercising regularly, if possible, I want to give it's like an 8.
Okay. And my job now is to debunk this.
No, your
So
job
the
is
reasons I think exercise is terrible.
no, your job is to move on to the next one and then and rewrite that one. I mean, and it's just
Okay. All
it's
right.
really like
So you
and
gave it an 8 out of,
I'm giving it like an 8 out of 10.
how about on a scale of 20?
17.5.
Woohoo, that's good.
It's up there.
I like that one. All right. Practice mindfulness and meditation. So Greg, this is something, that's forced down our throats in grad school.
Top button.
And also, I think like outside of grad school, it's looked at as like this kind of like hippie-ish new age form of like wellness that I think it makes when you say like the word mindfulness or meditation to the certain people, I think it's almost like an immediate eye roll
Absolutely.
because they have a certain view of what it is, right? And I think that's the problem. Now, For me personally, mindfulness can be so many different things, but I think we spend too much time focusing on like certain versions of it, like guided guided mindfulness, or like, those deep breathing things where you're viewing, like you're envisioning a river. Now mindfulness can be way more than that. So if you're someone that doesn't connect with, you have to find your version of mindfulness. And I think actually mindfulness is important for everyone, because it is the ability to become present with this current moment. And once you become present, you will notice that the things that are probably creating anxiety for you, the things that are causing you excess stress, are not actually present in that exact moment. And you will be able to calm, kind of think rationally, reason, like make a better choice. But it's so tough to do that when all those thoughts are racing and racing. So for me personally, like a mindfulness activity would be like a nature walk, like a walk in the woods, putting music on for me, and like being somewhere that's visually pretty that I can like look at things. The music helps me, kind of like allows me to focus on like one thought at a time versus like the cluster F of thoughts I normally have without it, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. Like I just recently read this quote that I've been regurgitating over and over again, and it's, suffer before it is necessary, you suffer more than it's necessary. It's an old Stoic sort of quote there. I think it's Epictetus. But like that's what you're talking about. It's like getting space from your thoughts. Like you're not in the future, right? Like
Yeah.
worrying about things that may or may not happen, and you're not in the past ruminating about like the things that have happened to you in your life. Like in the moment, you get to choose how you feel. Like it's yours, right?
Yeah.
And it's the only real thing.
It's literally the thing though that allows you appreciation too of your surroundings. So once you actually kind of like begin to practice mindfulness, you'll find your outlook on the world almost starts to change in some aspects, and you just become a more focused and like attuned individual. So for me, mindfulness and meditation, so doing techniques like deep breathing, yoga, things like that, all
Yogurt.
things that will, what's that?
Yogurt.
Yogurt. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Smearing yogurt.
Yeah.
Uh, things that will help calm the nervous system and enhance your emotional regulation. I think they're important for those reasons, but also just to become a person who has a little bit more focus, a little bit more attention to their surroundings, and yes, to the ability to like reason and rationalize in some of the toughest situations. Like if you practice mindfulness outside of moments where it's like needed, it's way easier to get into that mindset when you need it. I got
Great.
stuck on a ride.
Because you do have to practice.
Yes, I got stuck on a ride, and like I needed to be somewhere, and the ride stops, right? And it's in Walt Disney World. I was on Tiana's what the hell is it called? It's like the
Bayou.
old splash, yeah, the old
Yeah.
Splash Mountain, Tiana's Bayou. And you do the flume, you go down, and then you're like, you start going through, and you're almost off, and all of a sudden it stops. And my thing, the guard thing was a little bit too tight. I was starting to get a little panic attack, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna miss this parade thing that was going on. It was Halloween parade. I'm like, I gotta get up, and I couldn't go anywhere. So I started to do mindfulness, and it was amazing how quickly I calmed. It was tough. I was like still kind of panicking, but I just started to do some deep breathing. I started to like count, and I would start to look around, and I was like, that was a perfect example of a situation that normally, had I not been doing mindfulness in certain ways, I would have just, I don't even know what I would have done. I would have lost it. I think I would have gotten off the ride. I would have like stood up, somehow gotten out and stood up. I don't know.
Good news.
Yeah.
Dave, there's a couple things you're talking about there that are like incredible to me. One, you're bringing up a lot of good things. One is the ability to control your nervous system and calm yourself in a moment. And to regulate your emotions. Like, what a superpower to be able, like, you cannot be strong in any sense of the word without the ability to control your emotions. Like, if you're not predominantly driven by your emotions and you can be rational at times, that's an incredible, it's almost like a superpower. And I think like one of the biggest things that these influence type people miss, I wish we were influencers, but we're not, so we can shit on them, is that
We are.
people Oh, yeah. People are like really reluctant to suffer any temporary discomfort. I mean, people will stay in
You
relationships,
know,
people will stay in jobs, and it's really like they don't want to deal with the temporary discomfort, the uncertainty, right? And uncertainty takes you right into the future, and it's if you can really get good at the mindfulness thing, could be a pretty good strength. And I was a skeptic, but I mean honestly, I practiced,
same.
I practiced doing it, and it's really helped me in a lot of.
If and also like I'm not gonna lie, I don't. You probably experienced this too. Some mindfulness activities actually gave me more anxiety, like the deep breathing exercises.
Like I don't know how to breathe now.
Yeah.
I'm breathing wrong.
Yep. Absolutely. So
Well, Dave, okay, so we've talked a lot about mindfulness there, maybe too much, but what do we get a number for that? What's the
I'm gonna
rating?
give mindfulness a big old 8.5.
Okay, more important than exercise, which actually is a form of mindfulness, but whatever. So, how about getting adequate sleep? Okay, maybe these maybe these influencers are onto something here. Did they listen
This
to
is
our
like the easiest things to say,
Oh,
though.
I know. Look, getting is sleep important? Is
Do you think exercise would help your body?
Yeah, I know. I know. These are a little on the nose, but sometimes look, sometimes it's, we know what the good things are for us, but we avoid them anyway, right? I mean, that's just kind of, is there, how many people, if you ask, is there anything you're doing or not doing that's getting in the way of your health, mental health or otherwise? Of course, there's things that you could do. So is getting adequate sleep important? I'm gonna hesitate. I'm gonna say yes, but not in a way that might surprise you. So not as wildly important as you would think. Okay, so sleep is probably one of the biggest factors when it comes to like health and mental health. But the only reason why I hesitate on giving it like a 10 is because people freak out if they're not getting enough sleep. We learned that in the insomnia episode. So a sleep routine improves mood. It definitely improves cognitive function and mental clarity. If you're not getting enough sleep, it would behoove you to start listening to our episode on insomnia right away so that you can start learning a little bit more about sleep, CBTI, so CBT for insomnia, or just get on some drugs. No, I'm just kidding. The CBTI is the way to go. So getting adequate sleep, is that important? Absolutely. I would say it's probably a 9.
You can
Uh,
go weeks without sleep, without food,
mm,
but you cannot go days without sleep.
no, we're gonna give it a 9 there.
We're gonna give it a big old niner.
It's a niner. I agree. And you know, dreaming is something they should have added in there because dreaming can be kind of important too.
Yeah, but you can't like intentionally dream.
Mm, No, you can't.
You can't either.
Yeah, lately, I feel like I almost have. Ever since you mentioned on one of these episodes where you've been like kind of where you talked about how like you can kind of get back into your dream. Remember you were talking about
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
I think I've been doing that a little bit too. Anyways, that's for another time. Listen to our dream episodes. I think there's a couple.
Our
Uh,
Dream Warriors episode.
we need to do a Dream Warriors episode. That'd be a good one. You
That
probably
would
have that
be.
on the other podcast though.
I don't.
Oh, so Dave, sleep is yeah a 9. So what's the next one for you?
Something that's very overrated and it's building strong social connections. I mean, come on. Are they even valuable at all?
We're herd animals. We need a herd.
Um, so no, I'm just joshing you.
I know.
So this building strong connections is super important. And there's numerous reasons why I think there's value to this one. So, these influencers, they really outdone themselves with this, right? I never would have thought of this on my own, really.
Yeah.
Um,
Is
so
ice bad? Is it the biggest punishment ever?
I know, right?
They punish people in prison when you're
Well,
already in.
like I do think that, there's some people who may be oblivious to the idea of why social connections are so important, or they just are so it's so challenging for them. They kind of like shy away from doing it. So like, for example, I know someone who, spends a lot of time avoiding in-person social connections. I mean, actually, we probably know numerous people that do this. They hyper focus on like the virtual online connections. And like that's okay. And I think it gives the people an an experience of connection, but it doesn't replace the emotional support and connection that you get from the in-person connections. So I actually would add build strong in-person social connections on top of just regular social connections as like kind of like an addendum to this. I think it is important to have in-person supports when you need them. They are very important. Obviously, there's value to virtual friendships as well, but I do think there is something extra special and important about the in-person supports, whether it's family, friends, therapists, teachers, professors, whatever. Would you agree with that?
Oh my God, would I ever? There's something that like indescribable that exists between two people in a room sharing like an emotion, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like that's what we do every day. I always it's like a blessing to do that, where it's like you've gotten so much closer to that person. It's almost like your souls have become acquainted. It's like I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic. It's like there really is something that you can achieve through a screen that happens, whether it's like a gesture or
Yeah.
like almost like a feeling. It's like
Yeah.
it's tangible though, and I couldn't agree more. It's real
I
connection.
absolutely. And you know that I've met a lot of people who have like started online relationships. The whole dynamics change once they meet in person, and then they start to have some challenges, and it's because clearly the in person allows there's something about that experience that creates certain emotions that are kind of void online. Like there is something missing in those online relationships, and whatever it is, when you they meet in person, sometimes that can be a really challenging thing to maintain that same relationship, and it's hard to go back to virtual after that. So um I'm we're kind of getting off on a tangent, I guess.
It's
Building
okay.
strong connections, very important. Venting, having people to just listen and understand you. I think support, guide, challenge our interpersonal group that we were doing. We've had so many positive moments recently of the group just connecting stronger and stronger and challenging each other, people crying because they feel the support or they're acknowledging things like that they need to work on and people are seeing them in a way they didn't see themselves. I've just seen so much of that. I'm going to give this a 9. Boom.
A niner. Okay, I you know what? Can't argue.
I was going to originally give it a lower one. Then as I'm talking, I'm like, nah, it's a 9.
That's a solid 9.
It's a freaking 9.
I'm influenced. So the next one, eat a healthy diet. Okay. Hmm. So, nutrient-rich foods support brain health. Can't get around that, right? Reducing sugar and processed foods can make you, yeah, I don't know, they can make you feel and look better, and it actually do improve mood stability. Um, so, hmm, this one's kind of interesting to me. I think that it is obviously important. A healthy diet's important, right? I mean, if you feel good physically, that goes a long way to helping mental health. Does eating a healthy diet, is that one of the most important contributing factors to mental health? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it doesn't come up a whole hell of a lot in my own work. Now, Dave, you could you
Well, I just think we're personally not experts in this.
totally not. Yeah.
And I think that's actually maybe a deficit of both of ours
Mm.
because there are a lot of people that will tell
At
you
least.
that in like good gut health and certain like diet aspects actually have a lot of impact on mental health, on overall health. And obviously if your overall health is shit, pardon my French,
Yeah.
then yeah, that's obviously going to have an impact on your overall mental health. So I
I mean,
think it is kind of important, but I also think like the idea of healthy diet can like
all
what
right,
does
let me
that
ask,
mean?
how long does it take you to get to how often are you talking about diet with people?
I don't put a lot of emphasis on it. That's what I'm saying. I think both
Uh,
of us probably lack emphasis on it, and there might be some value to it that I just from things I hear
Yeah,
constantly.
and you know, I guess it's all like what your goals are too, as a patient, like what their goals are. If part of their goal is, you know, they have stomach aches, you know what I mean? Or no, I mean like, you know, they have like sort of like fitness goals or something like that. And that is the eating is a limitation. You've got to kind of find a way to get into that sort of discussion.
Well,
Yeah. But I would say it's important, but I'm giving it like a 6.
Greg, I was meeting someone who had like crippling anxiety, severe depression, and I asked them if they could go down to 1% milk. from the 2%, and it was like everything changed, dude.
Incredible. Yeah. So, should I move it from six?
Maybe.
Five? Yeah. So that one
Can
to
you
me,
move it just 1%?
oh yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
true. Which is like I can't do the math on that. Five
I
point. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I
tough.
need a calculator.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Dave, you got the next one. So I mean, honestly, maybe this is out of ignorance, but I'm giving it a six.
All right. I'm gonna say I personally would probably give it slightly higher just because of the overall impact and things that Greg and I are not. I just feel like there's probably a lot of people that know more
Yeah,
about
who are like,
diet and
whoa, whoa,
impact.
whoa. I feel great now. My mood has improved so much since I changed my diet, which I get, which I get. Um,
I'm on the paleo diet and I'm feeling good. Someone just said that right now.
yeah,
You
I've
heard
never
him,
felt
right?
better. But is it because now that now I think now maybe you have the ability to do the things that make you admire yourself. Like maybe you're engaging more with people because you're getting out more, you're feeling better. Maybe you're exercising more because you're feeling better. Like these kinds of things, I think.
Also, doing things that you know are good for you feels good.
Mhm.
So if I change my diet subconsciously, I'm going to feel
So
already somewhat better because I feel good about myself for making better food choices, right?
seven, seven.
Don't
Okay.
say what I think you're going to say. All right.
Well,
The kids thing. Yeah. All right.
okay.
You know what I was going to say?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, good. We're not saying it. All right. Um the next one, spend time in nature. Now, I already talked about going out in nature, but there are a lot of studies that kind of tell you about how immersing yourself in greenery can help reduce stress and anxiety and depression. I mean, I personally think it's important. It can be helpful. There's also people who don't like nature, and that's not going to be
Allergies.
helpful. Who? What's that?
Allergies.
Yeah, allergies. No, some people just find it like not enjoyable. They don't
Okay.
want to be out. So I will say, I think I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because I think this one's more unique to the individual. If you're someone who loves being outdoors and in nature and you're not doing it, obviously it's going to have a negative impact on you. So the more you do it, the better you're going to feel. I think I'm going to give this one a six just because I do think it's more individualized than a lot of these other things. It's not universal. Now getting sun, that's universal. We all need sun.
Personal,
That's
right?
vitamin D.
Circadian
And
rhythms.
that
Let's get that thing started. Helps with
Yep,
sleep.
that's going to boost the immune system, the everything, and just make you feel good. So that would be probably like a 7 or 8. But just being out in nature, I'm going to give it a 6. I enjoy it. Not everybody does.
Okay, so number seven, set realistic goals and boundaries. So daily goals, accomplishable goals, and boundaries with people. Sometimes we find
Ooh.
myself, and I've really struggled with the boundaries. I think anybody could tell you that. And sometimes it's like it's almost like an identity thing because who we are as people are the choices that we make. And if we start making our choices based on other people all the time, we're sort of giving up our identity, we're giving up our existence. And if we do it long enough, then we can kind of really get lost in it. I think that you build sort of self-esteem by creating reasonable boundaries for yourself. And you again, I'm bringing up that word admire again, but I always think that's the secret, trying to become someone you admire. And for me, it's like I never liked saying no to people. I always wanted to be helpful. But if someone says no to me, I almost like admire it and appreciate it and respect it, right? So for me, setting realistic goals and setting boundaries with people to help yourself like manage your stress and not become overwhelmed. I think that this is up there, like really up there. Because it's really about, we often talk about like again with the meaningful life thing. If you had 24 hours left to live, what are you going to do? Most people aren't going to be like, I'm going to run and punch into work because I have to work today. So
Right.
what boundaries do is help you pay attention to the right sorts of things. Like we talked about is how you develop meaningful lives is by paying attention to the right sorts of things. So for me, setting goals and boundaries, even though I'm not always achieving that, I'm working on it, is probably a solid nine.
A big factor of all this I'm realizing is how the ones that we resonate with more, obviously we're going to find more important. And I
Yeah.
think both of us have struggled in the past with boundaries, with being able to say no when we need to say no, not just people pleasing, things like that. So I think this is a super important one for us, particularly.
Yeah.
Some people, boundaries probably come way more easy. I know a ton of people who have no problem saying no, and this isn't a problem for them. Meanwhile, I feel extreme guilt anytime I can't be there for someone or do something for someone. So yeah, I agree. I find it valuable, but I think it's because of our personal struggle with it.
All right. What do you think?
I mean,
Next
I'll
one.
go with what you said.
Yeah.
Um, Practice gratitude and positive thinking. Um, I recently would probably bump this up more than I previously viewed it, because I've had some situations where I kind of have seen recently with people around me and things like that, how much negative thinking impacts just
Sure.
your mindset, your mood, your optimism. And it really does like do a number to people. So having a positive mindset is important. It's a challenge. It's something, again, it goes back to like something you got to practice. You got to reframe things. You got to, notice that you're even doing it. Gratitude. This is an amazing one. Just like being thankful for things that you have, not just focusing on what you don't have, what didn't go well, but what did go well, and being thankful for that. Like there's so many things. Like I just was talking earlier about, like, even just the thing I did this past week. I could be sitting there like just kicking myself and being so upset about the fact that I missed that opportunity with Kevin Bacon. I only did
Yeah.
half of it, but instead I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, I had an amazing experience for 2 days of that festival. I can't wait to do it again next year. Next year I'm going to do the whole thing. I hope. But like what I did was so fun and fulfilling. Like that's a just shifting the way I look at it, and that's
Mhm.
hard to do sometimes, but so important because it does make you walk away feeling better about it. Um, I think this is super important. I'm going to give it a 7,
Yeah. So,
sliding towards 8.
yeah, I'm gonna be with you on a 7 towards 8. We all have this negativity bias that we've talked about on multiple occasions. We're sort of wired for the negative. And so if we want to start thinking positive, we have to practice positive thinking, which is, it
100%.
sounds so, the only reason why we're not giving it a 10 is because it sounds like it's ridiculous. And it's not that thing that we both hate. It's not seeking happiness. It's not saying I'm trying to be happy all the time. Like I'm seeking comfort, ease, pleasure. It's not that. It's realizing that, you cannot banish the darkness, but you can create a light, right? I mean,
Yes.
things suck sometimes, but like what can I learn from this? How can the obstacle is the way, a very stoic sort of thing there, where it's like, I can't control the things that happen to me, but I can control my reaction. And, there's that old study, that blue dot effect, where, those researchers had those multiple series of colors of blue, and then they would just have dots on a screen, and they would ask the people how many blue dots they see. Now there's 10 objectively blue dots. The people would say 10. And even when they reduced that number over and over and over again, almost to nothing, those people saw 10 blue dots because they saw what they were looking for. And if you're looking for the negativity in the world, you will find it. And if you're looking for the positive, our brains see what they expect to see. They sort of like the alchemists taught us that the universe kind of conspires with us when we aim to achieve a goal. And it's true, right? Like we whatever we're aiming at, we can start to see ways to achieve that path. And if we think that there's going to be a ton of limitations, yeah, we'll find them. We'll find evidence of it. But if we think there's a way, we'll find evidence of that too. So yeah, Dave, 8-ish. Yeah. So the
Yep.
next one, limit your alcohol and avoid smoking. Now, let me sort of, okay. Aristotle, the golden mean. I think everything has a time and its place. I can't as sitting here as a 40 something. Yeah, reducing alcohol and not smoking, probably a pretty good idea. Um, did I partake in my youth? Yeah, would I change that? No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
I know. I have a lot of similar thoughts about it.
Yeah.
It was like I partook quite a bit
You
when I was
part.
younger, and like and there was some negative outcomes to certain things. There's a few nights that I wish I could redo or do
Mm,
away with. Would I replace the whole experience? Absolutely not. I
no.
have some funny stories, some funny memories.
Yeah,
I enjoyed myself.
part of learning.
Um, Learning,
Even
yeah,
as an adult, right? It is about moderation. Is there like should you just because that's sort of a trend too, to avoid alcohol at all costs. Is alcohol about a poison? Yeah, kind of, essentially. Can it completely ruin your life? Yes. Is it dangerous? Does it need to be, treated in a certain way? Yes. But if if you have a beer every now and then and doesn't and it's not wreaking havoc in your life,
yeah,
I'm kind of at
yeah.
like a 5 on this.
I think I mean obviously again this is like individualized. Some people's struggles with this will be harder than others.
But that's the
If
same thing with sex addiction or this addiction, that
everything,
addiction. It's like everything in moderation, I think.
yeah, and a moderation for a 40 something year old might look different than moderation for a 20 something year old or a
Sure.
30 something year old, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, in my older years, like I'm forced to moderate because I get hangovers. I feel like absolute dump. So like and yeah, I just can't function and I need to function. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's important, obviously, and I'm not advocating that people
I
not
know
pay
that's
attention to this.
being, but I
There's
still
so
say,
many people that like they take breaks from alcohol, especially now. I know it's become a very popular thing. Mocktails are huge right now. That's great. Awesome. And some people feel like experience like feeling really good when they limit or do away with alcohol, and that's great for them. I'm really glad. I mean, I kind of feel different, a little differently about smoking. I don't think smoking really has a purpose, and I probably felt different about that when I was younger. But I've just seen the damage it does to people.
yeah, smoking cigarettes it's probably good that that's taken sort of it's really come down quite a bit from when we were young.
Yeah.
Um, but I did it.
Boo.
I used to look pretty cool too. I did it.
So you gave that a 5. All right.
Yeah,
So Greg endorses alcohol use and smoking. All right.
I'm a 5 on it.
All right.
Yeah.
The next one is seeking. The next and last one is seeking professional help. Obviously, this is way overrated. I mean, you are your own professional. Why do you need to talk to somebody else? No, I'm
I'm
just
guessing
kidding.
what this.
This is very important for numerous reasons. You know, therapy, counseling, whatever you want to call it. It's. I find there's so much value to it. Your friends, your family, they play a role in your life when it comes to talking about problems going on, but they're going to always be a certain way about things, right? They're going to come from their biases. Some people are going to be way too much of a cheerleader, and that's because that's their job in your life. Other people are going to be way too much of a devil's advocate about everything or trying to get you to see the error of your ways. Like people have roles in your lives, right? And like you can't expect them to be able to view your situations without some kind of bias because most likely they're connected to some of the situations as well, or they just have so much you know involvement with you it influences the way they respond. When you're working with a therapist, you're getting a non-biased participant. I mean, we do obviously gain some connection to the individual, so it's hard for us to be completely unbiased. I think at some point, if we have unconditional positive regard for the individual, which we should, but we're we're not a stakeholder in that person's life in the way that other people are. So our guidance is often trying to get the person to like reflect introspectively, is that the right word, and kind of come to the conclusions themselves so they can guide themselves. We're not guidance or guidance counselors or advice givers. We're more of like tour guides to your life.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the right word.
No,
um but I mean, I think it's super important because like it provides something. It also provides a space where you can talk about literally anything, and that's your space to do that, right? And it's safe, and you're not going to get judged for what you're saying, and you're hopefully going to find that to be helpful to you in some way. um yeah, I think it's super important. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
I was so glad you did that. Can we go 11?
It's the most important thing you could ever do.
Most important thing, it's more important than eating.
Forget about sleep. It's way more important than sleep.
Yep, definitely. Exercise.
Social connections. Your therapist is the only one you need.
That's only a nine. All right. Listen, I think it's important that we hit these seven C's. We can kind of just riff these, go one at a time. They are important. I really liked these. I don't know. Listen, I have no backing where this came from, but I read through these and I was like, yeah, okay. So for me, I'll start with competence. Now these are all C's, which is interesting. The ability to handle situations effectively, allow individuals to trust their own judgment and make responsible decisions. So competency/usefulness is important in your life for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Confidence, a firm belief in one's own ability, which is built by demonstrating competence in real world situations.
Yeah, you do things to get confidence, right?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. You got to.
connection. We talked about that. Developing close ties with family, friends, community, sense of security and belonging. That's what this fosters. It prevents dangerous isolation.
Yeah. Character, possessing a strong set of morals and values, which fosters caring for others and self worth. I actually think character is almost like developing an identity, right?
Absolutely. And what do you need to develop character? Adversity. So it suggests that you have to go through some shit before you achieve this thing, which is character,
Yeah.
identity, right? Um, con contribution. I was going to read that. Contribution, experiencing the personal satisfaction that comes from helping others and contributing to the world, something bigger than yourself. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time. So like purpose, right? Meaning, you know, you never, I don't know, there is something so important about trying to alleviate the suffering of others. I think that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Not being self centered, you know?
Hmm.
Coping, developing a repertoire of healthy, positive strategies to handle stress, which protects against falling into dangerous, quick fix behaviors. Like, we always talk about those, um, those like feel good, impulsive things that we just gravitate to because, what's the word I'm looking for, Greg? What do we always talk about?
Seeking comfort, ease, pleasure.
No, what the hell? Pleasure seeking behavior, I guess. Yeah, maybe that's it. But yeah, that thing that you just do because it's easier to do that than to like
The hedonic
take
treadmill.
yeah than to take time to do something like having things that you can access to help you work through something rather than doing something to avoid the situation at hand, I think is super important.
Yeah, and it's also like the act thing, the psychological flexibility. Like shit's gonna happen, and the more you deal with it, the more confident you are in dealing with the things that happen. Like it's not like, oh my God, this is it for me. And the last C is control, understanding that actions lead to specific outcomes. Boy, how important is that? It helps individuals realize they have control over their own decisions in the future, which is agency, right? Attitude and agency, very important things. When we feel agency, when we feel like we have control over our own lives, we feel much better. And you
Autonomy.
gain control over your lives by doing. Okay, dude,
Yeah,
this is. So what do you think about those seven C's, huh?
pretty good.
Not
Pretty
only
good.
that, they're like Sinbad sailed the seven seas. There's seven seas,
Yeah.
seven seas restaurant back in the day.
I don't remember that one.
We're coming together.
Was that like
Yeah, you wouldn't remember it. It was tucked away in Warwick Neck. No one's going to remember this except maybe Josh Constantino. Um, and that's a maybe. Josh, help me out on that one. Um, yeah, I think that was it was the worst place in the restaurant for a restaurant to be. Like no one ever went there. Anyways, um, and I thought this one was kind of fun. What did you think?
hey, it was exactly what was needed today.
You know, it was nice to have a little conversation, right? And just kind of riff away. And I enjoyed that. Dave, thank you. We should be
Thanks, Greg.
back to just hard hitting investigative podcasting beginning next week.
Investigative podcasting.
Ooh, kind of like that.
If only we did that.
I'm gonna Nelly Bly it. I'm gonna admit myself to the psych ward.
To the hospital that you work at, that would be awesome.
I lose you there at the end.
Okay, whoever you're back. Sounds good, Greg. You admit yourself to that hospital, and then you let us know how that experience is.
Okay.
Um, I can't say it enough. Join the Patreon, get in on the action, engage, comment, start conversations, ask questions, make fun of us, do all the things.
And the people on Patreon talk to each other.
Can they?
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
would imagine. They can probably message each other. They can comment on each other's comments, all that stuff. Of course they can.
Wish there was a way to like. Oh, that's like a live thing, right? Where people are like can like comment while we're having a podcast.
Yeah, we can. I don't know how to do that, but
Mm.
that's down the road.
Seems cool.
Sounds like an idea.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Have a great day. Have a great night. Have a great week. We'll see you later. And that's it. See you another time, I guess.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah. See you another time.
Yeah. Bye.